start off a grass speech, but we made it. That was your cue to cheer. It was a long road with some bumps and turns, but we're finally here.
To thank the people who have helped us become who we are going to share one highlight from each grade. I didn't join Beacon until grade 4, so I missed some fun.
In JK, we had Mrs. Thiessen. The OGs of our class were Connor, Taya, Leah, Megan, and I. We were the first JK class in the newly built Beacon building.
Fun fact, but Paige, what does OG mean?
Original gangsters.
No, Paige.
You're just jealous. In SK, we had Mrs. Bootsma.
Oh yeah, that's when you had a lot of chicks in your class, right?
I named mine Quackers. Then it was into grade 1, where we had Mrs. Harris. We had so much fun in Marineland, and I loved Safety Village. There, we got to learn how to drive in mini cars, and we learned about how to be safe on the roads. There are many McDonald's and grocery stores and stop signs, but back then they looked huge.
Let's hope you put those skills into good use.
Haha, funny. Anyways, in grade 2, we had Mrs. Vandercube. I loved Froggy Friday. We got cute little name tags. And in grade 3, we had Mrs. Garden. It was her last year at Beacon, and we threw a huge party for her at the end of the year.
Grade 4. Oh, yeah, that's where I come in. When I first came to Beacon, I entered a class full of very welcoming students. Mrs. Cool was our grade 4 teacher, and it was her last year as well. It was so much fun participating in the choir for Narnia. I quickly became used to the Beacon environment, and I was glad I got to worship God freely in the school.
In grade 5, we had Mrs. Ritzma. She helped us a lot to get started to go into middle school. Our friends Ron and Josiah came that year.
They quickly became one of us, and we welcomed them just like my classmates welcomed me.
In grade 6, we had Mrs. Brower. It was her first year at Beacon, so we made sure it was the best one by throwing her a lovely baby shower for her soon-to-be baby boy.
In grade 7, we had Mrs. Campbell for term 1 and Mrs. Wiersma for the next 2 terms. We performed the musical Annie that year, and David joined the class.
But it feels like he's been here since the beginning. Hey Patrick, when I was in grade 1, I looked up and thought, man, the teachers look so old, but now I know that they're really just wise, and they've taught us well. Thank you for that.
Together we realized a lot of our class wasn't here from the beginning. So instead of focusing on how we have changed, we're going to focus on who we have become. Let's talk about this graded class.
For me personally, this year was the best one. Am I right or am I right? In the first thing we did as a grade 8 class was Fair Glen.
At Fair Glen, we had a chance to grow together as a class and become a family.
We did so many things like skydiving, extreme sports, swimming with sharks, stunt driving.
Paige, I don't know what school you were with, but I remember basket weaving, cross-stitching.
Oh wait, those were the other schools. We did stuff like canoeing, swimming, games, high ropes, rock climbing, campfires, and so much more.
We also had devotions, where we had the chance to grow with God. Oh, and you can't forget Truth or Dare or Capture the Flag.
Oh yeah, that was pretty fun. Remember when Bryn dared you and Zion and David to...
Paige, we don't need to talk about that right now.
Okay, fine. After
Fair Glen, we had the football tournament at the Rogers Centre in Toronto.
Oh yes, that was a tiring day. We left school at 6 a.m. and got back to school at 1 a.m. the next day.
We did have a lot of fun though. We played pretty well in our games, and we got to walk around Toronto. We also watched the Argos play, which was really exciting.
Then came Christmas season. We performed Chimes in the Night.
Paige and I have gotten to know each other pretty well, because in the play, we had the honor of playing the lead roles. And we got to play brother and sister. Don't ask. Skipping forward a little bit to the spring, we had the grade 8 track and field meet where we split into 2 teams, red and blue. Paige and I were on the blue team. We competed for the Great Beacon Cup. Unfortunately, red won.
After that, our grade 8 class got to lead the younger grades in track and field. We got to name our teams and come up with a cheer and all that fun stuff.
And after that, some of our class went to Masters. Me and my buddy Sam have run a total of 5.8 kilometers from track and field this year. That's pretty good, eh?
As grade 8s this year, we got to go on the band tour with Mr. Cook, Mr. T, and the female chaperone was Mrs. Woodlands.
It was a great experience. We performed at Burlington and 2 schools in Ottawa, Metcalf and Timothy Christian. We went around Ottawa the first day. We took a tour with Chris Biddle, the MP of St. Catharines, around Parliament, and we took a water taxi across the river to Quebec to watch an IMAX movie about aviation. We ate at the food court in the mall, and there were so many options. There was Thai, Mediterranean, Italian, and Subway.
We were so thankful to have Mrs. Woodland, who planned the whole trip. She's definitely better at planning than her son is. The girls got to stay at my aunt's house.
And the boys got to stay at Mr. Potts Brothers Church. Hey, Paige, what time did you guys go to bed?
Well, I mean, we partied pretty hard and we slept about 11:45. How about you guys?
We slept at 1 in the morning, after David had to sleep all by himself because he's making us laugh.
What's new? So, on the bus ride, we watched movies, listened to music, played cards, and slept. And just 4 days ago, we went to Wild Waterworks. Even though the 2 best slides were closed for most of the day, we had lots of fun.
The funnel cakes were the best, right, boys?
And here we are, the final big event of our Beacon lives, graduation. After everything we've been through, the ups and the downs, the millions of friendships, the laughs and the cries, we are all here together and we will never forget each other.
There definitely has been some rough times, but you win some and you lose some, right, Zion?
Oh yeah.
Hopefully all the memories we've made here will never fade, and we meet each other in the future. I thank God that our lives have been positively affected by Beacon Christian School, through our fellow classmates, our loving and caring teachers, and everyone else who helped us go through the 10 school years that led to high school.
I'm so happy that this family could have been formed through Beacon. I don't think any of us would be the people who we are today without each other. We will always cherish what was created here at Beacon, but we are also excited to be moving on and going to high school and going our own ways.
High school, man, high school. It feels like yesterday I was in grade 4.
Kind of think you still are.
Hey, Paige, remember that poem you wrote in language arts that made you cry?
Yes?
Go ahead and say it. Oh, and don't worry. I came prepared this time.
It all went by so fast. All my memories are now in the past. We have grown so much together, and no matter where we go, we will always be tethered. We are all going our own separate ways, but I will remember you for the rest of my days. A lot of things are going to change. New problems, new friends, it will all seem so strange. So many new memories will be made, but the ones we have created here will never fade. We have all changed each other in different ways. Without one another, we would not be the people who we are today. As we go down our path that God has planned, we have no idea where we will land. Even though the last day is coming fast, I will always cherish these memories from the past.
During our band tour, Taya and Paige shared the song I Will Follow with the schools we performed at. As we approach graduation, we wanted to remember to follow God wherever we go. They would like to share the song with you.